Hi, my name is Terry Lee from Sweet Pea Papers and the Sweet Pea Papers Facebook group. This is video 2 in our series using the Dragon Destiny Mega project pack from Victoria Designs. Now, I had originally decided to call this book Dreams of Dragons, but now I've changed my mind and I'm going to call it Dragon Dreams. I think that's easier to say and sounds better and all that jazz. So, I wanted to tell you really quick some other things that we're going to need. I'm sorry I ended video 1 a little abruptly. I was getting very frustrated because I was having so much trouble making that one folder, and it was a simple folder, and so anyway, yada yada yada. So a couple things you're going to need is you're going to need some magnets, you're going to need your brush and your ink, and once again I'm using Villainous Potion, which is a purple by Tim Holtz. We're going to use some envelopes, maybe not these great big ones, but cream colored envelopes and these cream colored invitation envelopes. They're a little bit different color cream, but it won't matter because we're going to ink them. And I'm not sure how many we're going to use, so this is a pretty big project. I would say ink at least 3 or 4, and then if you need more as we're going along, then you can just ink them at that time. I think I said we're going to need magnets. Now, I'm going to use some stationery paper, but it's just going to be typing paper that I've dyed. Now, this is a color that I made up using blue and purple to make like a royal blue purple, but to match the colors in this. And so I think it came out pretty well. I think it could be a little more purple and a little less blue. So I'm going to either add some pink to this or add some more purple to this. This is easy to make. This spray is just alcohol and food coloring. To get this color, I added 2 drops of blue food coloring and 1 drop of purple. So I think if I add 1 more purple, it'll be, you know, the blue won't be so overpowering because I did get some purple. So, yeah, so I've got 4 of these, and I'm going to keep them just in case. See, this side didn't get very much, and it's fairly blue, so I'm going to redo them, I think, and then keep these, of course. You never know when you need blue-purple paper. Say that 10 times fast. So we're at the point, let me set this stuff aside. We're at the point where we need to ink the folders before we glue them. Now I'm just going to show you where to ink them, and then I'm going to ink mine off camera because it's going to be a ridiculous amount. So on the ones that have the extra page, now this is before you glue anything, you're going to need to ink everything. You're going to have to open it up, and you're going to have to ink the whole outside. Then you're going to have to ink right here and both sides here, and the only thing you don't have to ink is right here. If you want to be safe to make sure you're inking everything, then do all of the creases and seams and all 4 sides on both sides. So you're going to have to flip it over and do it again. So that's 2 sides per manila envelope, so that's going to be a lot. So on this one with the flip down, it's the same thing. Okay. I need to do a little bit of trimming here because it kind of catches a little bit. I cut it a little bit crooked. So, but on this one, it's the opposite. We're going to glue this shut as a pocket. So you are going to have to ink here. I guess it's the same. You're going to have to ink here and all the way around the inside and the outside. Don't forget to do your edges. And where there's going to be a pocket on the top, make sure that you get down far enough. I'm not sure how I ended up with that big of a tab. It doesn't matter. I don't mind. I can just cut it out. And then the next one is one with the extra page, so that doesn't matter. We're going to ink it the way we do the first one. And then the last one is the one with the pocket. You know, actually, I think I have these in the wrong order. I think I wanted C to be the pocket one, and I want it because I want it to be in the middle. So I'm going to make this one C, and I'm going to make this one D. So the order is going to be extra page, flip down, pocket, extra page. Okay, that's going to be the order. So I'm going to take the word back off of this one and take out the word tie. We don't need the tie there now. And I'm going to put it on the back of D. And put the word tie. Now don't put it too close to the edge. You don't want it to show. You just want to remind yourself that you need to put it there. Okay, so the order now is going to be extra page, right? Extra page, flip down, pocket, extra page. Okay, so those are your orders. Now have fun. Ink everything. If you're inking. If you're not, then just wait until the next part of this video when I come back and we're going to start gluing everything together. Okay, I'm going to try out my new Tim Holtz Media Mat. See if I can keep the manila folder from moving. Oh, and I am going to go ahead and use the brush method so that the edges look more like this versus this super dark. So I may not do that on the edges of the papers. Oh, and you can take all of your horizontal pages like this and cut them in half at 5.5 if you printed it borderless. So if you didn't print it borderless and you had to cut white off around the edges, it's going to make your image a little bit smaller. So you're going to have to adjust the size that you cut your manila folder as well, because the height will be different and the width will be different. So just adjust, add a 1/4 inch to the width, and then that's how long you need your manila folder to be. Add a 1/4 inch to the height, and then that's how tall it needs to be, because you want 1/8 of an inch at the top and the bottom so that we've got that border all the way around. Okay? So go ahead and cut these in half. It's not going to hurt anything. That's the way we're going to use them. We're not going to do anything with the backing pages right now because we're going to cut those as we need them. Okay? So that's it for this part of this video. And then when we come back, we'll have them all inked. And then we'll start gluing them together. And then I'll tell you what we're going to use these envelopes for. I think you're going to like it. Okay? All right. So I'll see you in just a minute. And get inking, okay? And start thinking while you're inking. All right, I'll see you in the next part. Just a second. Okay, so now I've got everything inked, and I actually haven't cut all the papers in half, but I knew I wanted to make this the cover, so I kind of glanced through, and I thought this would make a nice back cover. So I've got those set aside, and I've already inked them. And the ink looks good, even on the cream color, I think. Just have to make sure that we just ink it to highlight it and not ink it like we're, you know, doing vintage photo on a shabby chic journal. All right, so we're going to set those to the side. And then I wanted to show you something real quick about the envelopes. These are pretty messy looking, but it doesn't matter. We're going to cover them. But when I inked them, you know, I tapped it off, but then I also came in and started from the edge like that. I didn't just, even after I tapped it, I didn't just start on the edge and start going. So I would start from here and swirl my way around, and then start from here and swirl my way around. Okay? I still made some mistakes, you know, don't get me wrong, there are places like right here that's dark where I made mistakes, but it's okay, you know. And on the on this one, you will, you know, see that it's a little bit darker, but you know, who says that a dragon's skin is exactly the same all the way around? The other thing I wanted to show you real quick is when you ink them, even though this is going to be underneath the paper, you want to go ahead and ink a little bit because you're going to see this edge right here, okay? And then also on the back, you want to ink this part and then around. And now the other thing you want to know is that when you're inking your envelope and you're doing this part, don't do it with the envelope shut. Do it with the envelope open, and do it when you're doing this part, because otherwise you'll end up with this, and I don't know if you can see it or not, but you can see the line where this was right here when I inked it. So don't do that and then end up with that line. Now, I was able to cover it up pretty well, but there was a definite line there. Okay, so those are my 2 tips on that. I haven't inked any of the long ones that I think we might use because I want to see if they're going to work for what we want before I ink any and do anything else to them. So we're going to set these to the side as well. And we're going to start gluing this. So we're going to take section 1, or A, we're going to open it up, and as you can see, there's a lot of ink that I did. There's going to be a lot of ink. I went ahead and did all of everything, and you'll see that a bunch of it's going to get glued over. But I wanted to make sure the edges were done and, you know, all that kind of stuff. So now this one is an extra page one, so we're going to glue it here to glue this shut. Then we're also going to glue it along the side because we want a top pocket. You can see I made the same mistake right there before I realized. Then after that, once I saw what had happened, and then I turned around and did it on the envelope too. That's what drives me so crazy. After that, on the other sections where we have a little bit of a cutout, I put my hand underneath it and then inked it like that. And then, of course, you know, even though I've washed my hands, I still have a little bit of purple on me because I just used so much purple. So let's go ahead. Now this glue is probably going to come out like crazy because I just filled it. Well, once I get the gunk off the end anyway. Okay. So we're just going to glue along here. Oops. And along here. And I just did what I was going to tell you not to do, which is try not to glue too far in so that you have the largest top pocket as possible. Okay, so we've got this section glued. We'll have our top pocket, which we won't even have to make a thumb hole for because this will have this cut out. So that works out good. Let's make sure everything's glued. I went too far up. You should always glue the edge that you're flipping up. I don't know what I was thinking. Okay, so that's number 1. Section B, we have a flip down. You can tell when the ink was fresher. I had to do a lot of tamping. Kind of looks neat. So we're going to glue this section up to make our top pocket. And we'll have the little notch, okay, and then this is just going to fold down. So let's glue this, and since we have the notch, let's put the glue on the part that's going to flip up, so we don't do what I just did a minute ago. I know part of this is probably going to be off camera, but I'm just gluing 2 straight lines. The bottom's already glued. because it's the fold. You know what I mean? It's where the fold of the folder is right here. So we'll glue this shut. And that gives us our flip down. Now, I had to do some finagling with this to get it relatively straight. That's why it's a little far apart, but that's okay. It works out fine. Gives us a lot of room for when we go to close it. And then also, I actually had to do this again. So that was the third try on that one. I have no idea what my deal is. Now on this one, we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to glue this shut so that it comes up here like this. And then we're not going to glue this pocket shut. We're going to wait until we paper this. And then we'll glue this shut. Okay, so all we're going to do right now is glue this part. For our top pocket. You'll see why I'm making them all top pockets when we get to that part. It's a state secret. We're actually going to have a lot of top pockets. I didn't realize how many actually. Oh, I know what we'll do. Okay. And then on the last one, it's like the first one. It has the extra page. So we're going to glue this shut like this. Let's open this. And we're going to do the same thing, and we'll glue it from the bottom. I made a right mess out of it, didn't I? Oh well, it took me a while. Got it all inked. I actually sat and chatted with my friends while I was inking. Took me that long. And glue that one very straight. Okay. So now we've got our 3 top pockets. And this opens like this. And this like this. And then this is our back cover. Okay. Now I had an idea for the front cover, but I don't think it's going to work now. So I think we're going to have to do something else. Unless I pick a different picture. Okay. So now we're going to glue them to each other. And we're going to make those side pockets. So we're going to glue A to B. See right there it says glue to B. Make sure that we have our tops. And then we're going to glue the 3 sides like this. And that will give us a side pocket. Okay? So we're going to have 3 top pockets and 3 side pockets, I believe. I don't know. I've never made one with 4 before. It's a lot of pages. But we are going to try to make it similar to a book versus a manila folder. We're going to have flaps and stuff, don't worry. We'll have that. But, it isn't going to be crazy. I don't think. You never know. Wow, I don't know if you guys can hear that or not, but that's a plane going overhead. Okay, and we're going to take this one. We're going to glue it to this one. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to make a C. And I haven't cut the pages up. And I haven't cut the ephemera out. I'm waiting on my Cricut mat so that I can do that. My scan and cut mat won't be here for 10 days. Okay, now we're going to have to keep track of this. We're going to have a cover along the edge. We're going to cover the edge of this. I'm thinking I'm going to dye some lace black. You want to try to keep everything from sliding. I don't know why, but one seems a little bit taller than the others. Apparently it's an optical illusion. And we're going to glue this last section together. So then I'll put you on hold and I'll get some papers cut up and we'll do the first page or so. There's a dog barking, so I hope that the big OZ doesn't start. My dog's name is Oz. But I don't want him to know that I'm talking about him, so I call him the big OZ. Which is really funny because he only weighs 10 pounds. Okay, let's give that just a second to dry. Or to dry enough that when we flip through it, it won't make a difference that it hasn't completely dried. I'm going to get purple all over me. Okay, so now we've got, we're going to open it here. And we'll have a top pocket. Oops. Here, and we'll have a top pocket. Then we'll open this page. Then we'll go here. And we'll have a side pocket. Okay, then we'll go here and we'll have our flip down. Then the next page is a side pocket. Then we've got this pocket. Oh, and we have our top pocket here. And we have this pocket here. And then we turn the page, which these two seem to have slid. Re-glue that. So that's why you go through it right away and make sure before something's completely and permanently dry. It was kind of dry. Did you see how it kind of pulled apart with all the little strings and everything? Okay. It's easy because this is actually starting to curve a little bit. I mean, you can keep going, but I'm not sure how well everything would stay lined up. And we're going to have our extra page. We'll have our top pocket. And then we'll have a side pocket right here. Oops. And we won't have anything if I keep messing with it. Okay. So that's all there is to that. And then we'll have our papers to cut in half. Look through and count how many pages we're going to have, and then kind of get an idea of how many. I'll probably cut all these in half, because what I don't use in this I'll probably use to make a book, and I'll probably film that too. And so I like to make my books like we're doing this, where you work on the paper and then put that in the book. So yeah, this would have been a kind of a cool back too. This is the other half of the front page. So I'm just going to have to look through. Alright, so I'm going to put you on hold, and when I come back we'll have the pages for page 1 and 2. Oh, that's the other thing. You want to go through and number them. So this is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, side pocket, 5, 6, 7, 8, side pocket, side pocket in here somewhere. Right. 7, 8. There should be a side pocket right here. Oh, there it is. Side pocket. So this is going to be 9, 10, side pocket, 11, 12, 13, 14, and then the back. Yeehaw! Okay, so now that you've got all that done, you're going to cut your pages in half, and then when we come back from break, then we'll do pages 1 and 2. We'll see if we can get that done. Okay? All right. I'll talk to you in just a second. Okay, so let's do pages 1 and 2. 2 is going to be easy, so we'll do it first. Page 2 is this. That's all. So I've inked it, and we're going to glue it down, and then we'll be done. I really like this page. I think it fits as a good intro. We're going to put a pocket and a tag on this side. So both of these pages will be nice and easy, and they will fill up the rest of this video. And the inking, if you're careful and just do the highlight to knock the white edge off, the dark purple is fine. Remember, we were talking about, I was worried about the purple being too dark. So that's going to work out fine. It didn't come out very much. I must have had the nozzle too straight down. And I did fill it for this project. Okay, so we're going to put this here. And the thing about page 1, this one we're just going to trim the corner just that teeny little bit. Let's do that now, because we want it to have a border still. There we go. Except for now it isn't inked. There we go. Okay. Let's make sure it's straight, which kind of looks a little crooked. Which I waited too long to move it. Looks fine along here. Okay, and then on page 1, we're going to need to trim it down. I've decided to just leave the tab show. So we want to cut off of the top, so we're going to turn it upside down. And then we're going to mark how tall we need it to be. And then we'll mark the bottom, and that's what we'll cut off. And we'll still get most of this image on the bottom. I've got everything labeled ahead of time, so hopefully these pages will go pretty quick and it won't take us that long. Now, I did run into some trouble when I was picking the pages, because this is one of the, not older kids, but not brand new kids. They took a survey. Oh, now I'm going to have to re-ink the bottom. They took a survey, and that's why I couldn't see the line. I cut off the wrong end. Line's right there. I think we still have some room to cut off the top. Let's take this line off. That still worked out okay. We want it even with the other one on the bottom, and then we want to have a little bit of a margin on the top on this side, and then we're just going to have the tab on that side. It worked out okay, even though I messed up. I'm going to have to ink the top and the bottom. That's alright. It'll only take a second. I probably have enough ink left on my dauber. And you see how I'm just barely touching it. You can do a smidge more on the darker areas just to kind of, you don't want to do it any thicker, but you can go back over it and make it just a smidge darker so you can see it better. And I'm not doing the corners. So I'm just doing around the outside edge. I'm not enhancing the corners at all. So before we do that, let's put on our pocket. Now this is going to do this as we work on it, and then we will we'll make it flat again. If we have to, we'll put it under a book overnight, and then we will do the covers. Well, we won't put it under a book overnight. I will. Alright, so this is going to be our pocket. And we're going to make a skinny pocket, of course. This one's only printed on one side. Most of the other ones, or I took a whole batch and I printed them on both sides. Then I ended up reprinting all of the image files, the page files. Where did they go? And I haven't cut them in half yet, but I went back and printed them on the back because some of these we're going to be using as writing cards. So I just went ahead. It was easier to just print on the back of all of them, and so I double side printed all of them again. Okay, this is our pocket. This is our page. See, that's why I don't like taking the labels off. So let's and this is going to be difficult because not this particular page, but the project is going to be difficult, like I was saying, because it's not one of the newer kits after the survey. After they survey, they added more blank pages with just decoration around the edges, and that would have been ideal for us. So I'm going to have to think about that and decide what to do, because we have 16 pages in this book. I wouldn't have made it this big had I realized what was going to happen. So there's 2 other dragon kits that come with this mega pack, which you would think having a mega pack you would have enough. Now I lost where my mark was. There it is. But like I said, we don't have enough of the bigger writing pages. Alright, now put this over in your scraps, even though it's big. And that will help you keep track by just glancing at it to know that it's not full-sized. This may make a good collage when we're done, so I'm keeping papers even this size. Let's see, how tall do we want this pocket to be? Let's use the purple end. No, let's use the end with the blue, and let's cut it right above the blue. We'll make it a tall pocket. If I had made it just a smidge narrower, you could see the last little point on there. Okay, book, you're going over here. So we're almost going to have a bookmark, almost. Okay. And then we were going to cut it right above the blue. See, that way, I don't know if you can see it or not, but the circle goes around and there are little parts that stick out. And there's a little part that comes out right here, and I didn't want to cover it because it looked weird. So, let's see. Yeah, right above the blue. Then, oh well, what I could have done, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it at an angle, and that would have allowed us to view this. Because I don't just want a big square or rectangle on the page. So we're going to cut it at an angle, and then you'll be able to see the image on the tag as well. What is it with my hair? Excuse me. But I don't really want to cut the whole thing off diagonal. Let's cut it from here to there. And I'm just lining up the 2 lines, one here, or the dots, whatever you want to call them, on the cutting line. And then I'm just going to cut straight from one to the next. And we'll have a nice triangle left over. Yep, that'll be fine. Be careful with this purple. It's just like the black soot. It gets everywhere. If you touch anything with it, you've got it on there. So just be... answer your question. The lowest point in Washington is 0 inches at the... I have no idea why my ALEXA just answered where the lowest point in the state of Washington was. That was kind of interesting. I don't know if you could hear it or not. I have no idea why it turned on. Okay, so we want to ink, or we want to glue the two outsides. I have a little bubble. So that would be the two straight sides. So it's actually going to be more like a tuck than a pocket, because we're not going to glue these two little flat parts. I'm going to line it right up with the corner. Right up with the corner. Okay, now this is going to be our card. I wrote this in pencil. It says tag page, and then I put a line underneath it, and that way I can reuse my same little note. It's saving on paper. We could almost do the page width, but let's instead let's make it a little wider than our tuck. And then we'll edit the width as well. And then we'll put little tab corners on the top. I know you can't see the very bottom of my trimmer. I apologize. I tried to make a better view for you guys. This is a definite bookmark. Keep this. Let's make sure this will fit. Okay. Put it all the way up to here. And then we're just going to use our little credit card template to make it into a tag. This is simply a credit debit gift card that I've cut the corners off at different angles, just at random. This is the back side that you can write on. If I had a dragon stencil, I would definitely be stenciling on the backs of these. Okay, and then you just flip it over. Now some people hold it there and cut it, flip it over and cut it, but I can't really do that. So instead, I draw it on and then I cut it. It's much easier than trying to fold it in half and do all that mess. I don't know how I switched to my little scissors. I also have some nice ones from BB Craft, some little scissors. That would have been perfect for cutting the corners off versus my little snippers. We have to ink the edges. Oh, we need to use our crocodile and make a hole. Then I also have a punch. Sorry about that. I keep forgetting that I'm using the web camera microphone and not the lapel mic, so that I can turn around and I wonder if this is big enough, and make one of those nope, not big enough. It should have come out. Anyway, I'll make one later. I'll make it out of a darker paper. I'll practice with it. I also have some protectors. We could use, let's see what colors I have. We could use the silver. If we do, we'll need to use it all the way through. So I'm going to wait and see. I also have some white ones. I don't really want to use white ones though. And then we're going to take on all of our tags, we're going to come back and put this very, very thin black ribbon on it, which is only this thick. And I'll probably use my tiny attacher, the other name for the little tiny stapler. That, well, the stapler isn't small, but it makes small staples. Alright, let's ink this real quick. I see I sat there and left the lid off, which was a very bad idea. Now, when I tag this long, might have wanted to back it instead of using the printed to make it more sturdy, or print it out on 110 paper, but I didn't know which page I was going to use, so there was no sense in me printing out every page on 110, if you know what I mean. Okay, let's make sure this all fits. Okay, I like it. Let's glue the page in. That's why I put that glob of glue in the corners, because it takes longer to dry. And you have enough time to move the paper around a little bit if you need to slide it around and adjust it. So we'll put this page on here, line it up at the bottom with the page next to it. And then it's short because of this. Let's move it over where it belongs and move it down a little bit. And now we have this tab across the top on the inside. And then when we put our pocket in, our long tag in, then we'll be good to go. Now, a note on the long tags, you're going to love this, I hope, is going to be that I'm going to use these long envelopes for this. They fit in perfect. I tested it. And then we don't have to measure or anything. We can just slide them down in. And they just stick out just a little bit. The reason that that's okay is I'm thinking about putting a decoration across the top that makes it look like a castle tower. So that's my idea. Now for the cream colored part, I'm going to open them up like this, and I'm going to use repositional tape and tape it onto a piece of typewriter paper as a carrier page, and then run it through my printer and print on one side, take the tape off, flip it over, tape it again, and print on the other side. Now I do realize that this is white, which I didn't realize when I bought them. But anyway, this is white, but that's fine, because when we put it in the pocket, it's going to be closed. You'll only notice the difference when you open it, and then we're going to put our, that's where we're going to put our ink dyed paper. All right, so that's my idea. And then we'll ink the edges, but not like we did it this way. We're going to do it like we did these. But don't ink them until after you print them. Okay, so we'll go over that again, but I just thought I would show you, and that's why we had our little cutout tab. Okay, so these are our first 2 pages, and that means it's the end of this video, and I will see you in the next video, and that will be just a second for you and a day for me. Okay, bye-bye.